Welcome to the Feral Minds Podcast. You are right where you need to be, and we are glad you're here. Come seek with us as we laugh at what we have known and find direction from what our curiosities demand we learn.
All right. I eat, therefore I am. That's been a bit of a topic that I've been sitting in here lately, coming into an episode on eating, the very first episode where we get to be seen and heard.
We hope.
Yeah, this is not our first attempt. I'm sure you've heard us talk about it. But this is the first time that we brought a prop such as this.
Yeah,
and
show
anticipate.
Them the bottom end. You're not really doing it full flavor. Oh, can't you smell it now?
Yeah, the back is the one I like on it. And whenever you come with some creative process, some display, you want to try to use all the media you have at your disposal. And so if you can be seen and heard, well, then that gives you an additional outlet to bring a new, dynamic to the story.
Yeah,
I could tell you how I got this shirt, or I could wear the shirt, you could see it, and then find out about the story.
Well, I'm not going to miss it. How many job interviews have you been in that shirt?
Not near enough.
That should be you're hired.
Yeah,
you're hired. What NASCAR company do you work for? You're hired.
It would have to be in food service, I assume, maybe, like speed food service
it's
kind
colorful.
Of industry.
It's colorful. Well, I don't have that experience, but my past with eating it's been quite checkered. It's still checkered. It's this dynamic that I'm constantly adapting, kind of getting feedback from my body, maybe just my general mood at times. But yeah, we definitely we have to develop our own religion around food. Nobody can hand you that. You have to internalize it and see what feels good for you and what doesn't.
And it's a journey. You don't always sit in the same place. I kind of was starting off the show. I really love the connection between that line of I think, therefore I am, and then I eat, therefore I am. To me, they're both basically saying the same sort of deal. Just one is from the thoughts you put in your head, if I understand the message, the spirit of the phrase. Mm-hmm. To me, it comes off as like a blank statement. What do they call it? Fill in the blank statement. I think blank, therefore I am blank.
Right.
And we all have heard philosophers, self-help gurus in the past say, like, you're made up of your thoughts. So if you think positive things all day, that is what manifests around you. That's the place you come from. And then what I'm kind of feeling, what I've noticed lately, after I've come off of this vacation where eating has changed. You break your usual routine. You get into this different mindset of, now food is not just here for my sustenance. Like, I'm getting joy.
It's part of the adventure.
I'm going to chase this endorphin high that getting stuffed brings to you. And I found out, it's a short-lived deal when it comes to food. You think that you're eating happiness, and therefore I will become happiness. I eat, therefore I am. But in the end, it's more about you are what you eat. That's the only building blocks your body has to make you up. And if you're giving it junky building blocks, well, then you're going to ride around with a house built out of junk. And so it touches to that same thing with the thoughts, where you run around with negative thoughts, you're going to be a negative person. You're going to exude negative ideas. You're going to get into negative conversations. And therefore, there you are. There are your thoughts. This is what got you here. And then what I'm noticing, to bring it back to the food, is we had a different journey we were going on with food. We kind of both thought, I want to be bigger, so therefore I eat more, and then I will be more.
Right.
The bulking idea. It's kind of it's an interesting thing to dive into. There's a healthy aspect there and too healthy. Now, when I was on vacation, I wasn't able to work out. So if I tried to keep up with the bulking efforts, it was going the wrong way. My bulk was going to be a lot
Waistline
softer.
bulk. Yeah.
So I sort of had to just take off of the I eat therefore I am for what was it, about 18 days. I think I was going on vacation
Somewhere in there.
and then I come back and somebody didn't get that memo. So like you kept on eating, kept on going to the gym, and your bulk came out the right way. Like you didn't get the softer bulk I would ended up with. So if we come back and hear your bulking swolled you up into the Batman, and I by default get to be the sidekick, I suppose.
You still got to wear the tights. That's the cool part. No, this bulking event. First of all, it's kind of comedic. Just the idea that a man my age or your age is going to bulk.
Yes,
like we're still trying to be superheroes in some
you get told
immature way. I don't know, but listen to how I've been bulking. Right? I'm on a Brahms bulk, and if you're not from the Oklahoma area, Brahms is a nice cream and dairy store in your neighborhood.
It's a delicious dairy store.
It's an incredible little cultural piece to Oklahoma, and I know it expands out to Texas and Kansas, but it's a little bit of dairy, it's a little bit of burger. It's a little bit of convenience store, kind of all rolled together in some convenient form for all of us. Well, they have this bag of burgers that for years I bought for my wife and kids because $7,
that's
you can feed the whole family, right?
Yeah, a bag of burgers.
So yeah, that with you throw a bag of chips on the side and you can get by pretty cheap. So I just had the idea in this bulk that I was going to do a Brahms bulk. Instead of buying a bag of burgers for my family, I was going to take on the bag of burgers myself. Which day one of trying this, I had to make some adjustments. It's too much bread, right? But I figured out that if I could go 3 patties, 1 bun, 2 patties, 1 bun. I've got a double, I got a triple. Comes out to about 1,700 calories.
It's a low-carb bag of burgers.
And it's a lot of protein. It's a lot of protein, right? And it's easy. Now, here's the problem. After you eat it, you go into this like full body, swollen. It's not pleasurable. It's not enjoyable, right? And so you've consumed this mass pile of quantities, and you're hoping it shows up in your shoulders, your arms, your quads. You're hoping it doesn't end up on your gut. I was working out almost just to keep up with the bulk because I was afraid if I stopped working out, I was just going to get
fluffy.
But what I found is I have more endurance in the lift than I do in the desire to eat. Like you slap on 3,500 calories in a day, then you wake up the next day, dude, you don't want to eat. You're exhausted. You have a food hangover. And now you got to get back on that horse and go find another 3,500 calories. Go get you another bag of burgers plus whatever pile of ground beef you're going to eat in whatever fashion. It just becomes exhausting.
It sounds fun when you start, though.
It was an adventure. Like it added a little bit of sauce to our daily walk. That part's great. But now I'm 3 weeks in, and none of my T-shirts are fitting well. And
you don't enjoy maintaining
I really don't. It gives me headaches when I eat an entire bag of burgers. It sounded cool. Like it really sounded, I'm going to pound this, right? My family's been eating this entire chunk of food. I'm going to do it on my own, and I'm going to grow into some cosmic superhero size. I mean, I gained 10 pounds, right? I gained 10 pounds, but I haven't been doing cardio either because I'm thinking,
well, what you hope
why would I want to burn those calories?
Is you burn you burn 15 pounds of muscle, and then you burn 15 pounds of fat and gain like 25 pounds of muscle.
Well, the idea would be,
and then it's a 10-pound net, but hopefully you just reshifted your makeup through trying to use food and your activity to shape you into something more desirable, I suppose.
And you're going to cut it out. That's the idea. I'm bulking up. I'm going to cut that back down at some point in time. The muscle remains. The fat goes away with the cut. But to be honest, in a daily life of a non-professional bodybuilder, like I build some body, but I'm not a serious bodybuilder, right? I'm trying to add an inch or two here in my arms through fast food, and that just it puzzled me. Like, what's the idea? I'm going to build great muscle, right? Which is the essence of health, but I'm going to do it through a drive-through window. And that's just kind of where I continue to find myself. And so I know there are cleaner ways to bulk, and perhaps I should experiment with those. But I'm thinking I'm just like, my bulk's over, man. I could go. I was a big fasting person before this started. And so for me to put on that many calories in a day is just, it's nauseating. It's not worth the squeeze, as you would say.
Yeah, I think that, as we started off into it, one of the things that made me want to do is just that you kind of get told you can't.
Yeah.
No, they pretty much will tell you can't bulk on size once you've been this age. And all the science makes sense. You're not growing anymore. The hormones are here. There's so many, evolutionary developmental things that say
go ahead and hang it all up.
But I didn't want to give up that easy. I liked the idea of thinking my body runs just as good or better right now than it ever has. And whatever that looks like, I want to go try to find out. And it seems fun at first to think, well, I'll just eat whatever I want. I know I'm going to burn it all.
Yeah, yeah.
But I got into a point where that stuffing yourself as you're starting to try to chase it on a vacation kind of high, like you were still keeping it to a very...
Well, I was lifting in the middle of it, right? And so as long as I had the lifts going, I was okay. But I couldn't imagine bulking and not lifting. Like that just sounds like at that point you're just getting chubby, right? I mean that's not what we're after. But I don't know. It was a month-long soiree into the world of eating more hamburger than really anybody should. All under this idea that I'm bulking and I'm going to look in the mirror and things are going to dramatically change. And they changed a little bit, but for the effort, for the mental exhaustion of where am I going to go find another 3,500 calories in a day, that's exhausting for me.
It does.
So,
it takes your time. It takes your money. It takes mental energy to do all that. And
so I turned in my bulking license. I'm laying down the bulk. I'm out of the bulk business. I won't do any more bulking or bulking activity, at least in the near future.
It's worth the shot, though, because if we want to get back to my past a little bit, maybe even get to where I want.
It's a beautiful piece of cloth you got on there. A beautiful piece of cloth.
It goes back to as you're going through life, just trying to find where your relationship with food is and where it's changed. Because my first change I noticed was right around the mid-20s, and I had been sitting on that. It doesn't matter what you eat. It doesn't matter what you do.
It didn't for a long time.
You're going to have this shit. Yeah, I was drinking 8 Cokes a day.
It didn't matter.
I'm living on fried food. Like nothing did.
Yeah.
There was nothing that was going to change my body. And you hear people say, "Oh, that wait till you get into your 30s, or wait till after you get married." Like there's always some mark that's going to get you. That's when it's going to get you.
It's going to get you.
Essentially, it's probably sometime between mid to late 20s, and it's your metabolism.
It
wasn't the fact you got married. It wasn't because.
Dude, we've talked about this before. Like when we were kids, we ate garbage.
Yeah.
But never put on any weight because we never stopped moving.
But then I got to a point where it kind of started coming on. Like I did start swallowing. It was kind of funny to me. I'd never been heavy.
This is an undesirable bulk?
It was
the bulk that never got an invitation?
Well, it came off of, man, I'll tell you what'll do it. And this is also something that I heard on my travels this last time that was just, it was painful to hear. And it was another one of those conversations where the manager is explaining the expense account whenever you're out on some sort of a work venture and you're on a per diem for the day.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you and I both have been on these company-sponsored just, all right, this is how you're going to get paid. Eat all you can.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing them talking. They're trying to figure like how you get the alcohol in the tab, as long as it's not itemized. We've all had this conversation.
Yeah.
I'm sure. If you've ever had an expense account,
throw it out receipt.
You've had this conversation about how you get as much food as possible in the day without getting in trouble, and maybe how much you could sneak alcohol onto it.
Can you imagine that day, though, when your boss comes in and hands you a stack of receipts and says, hey, I'm going to need you to go through these receipts and find the alcohol that all these salespeople, they shouldn't have purchased.
Right.
And that's your gig now, accounting staff. I need you to go through here and see, do they have 2 drinks, whatever the quota is. Mm-hmm. But it's real funny to watch or to hear that over the years. Like, you can do whatever you want on his expense report as long as nobody's looking, as long as you throw away the evidence. It's kind of a crime scene.
And there's always
within the business world.
Yeah, and it's that frontline manager trying to tell you how they're your friend.
Yeah.
Like, my boss won't let me do it, but I don't really care as long as you can hide it right. And that's the speech I'm hearing. And again, I've been there. I lived those in my early 20s, and on a 3-week expense account run was whenever I broke over 200.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not worried about it. It's not something I'd really dealt with.
Sleeping on it, too, probably.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. Way less activity, way increase in food. Way increase in
It's
food
kind of the
budget.
show,
When you're
though.
paying for food, you reduce the amount that you're going to overeat. But for some reason, whenever the company's paying for it, well, then by all means, my health goes out the window.
Yeah.
Who cares about me?
But also,
I've got to get all this food in me so I can get paid.
Yeah, but also like it becomes a companion. So if you're going to spend a night in a hotel on a business trip, it's now you've done whatever work you were going to do. Now I'm off to my free time, but my free time is not in my house. My free time is not around my kids or
Not
any
the
hobby or
activity you want.
So the only companion I really have to dance with is where am I going to eat, right? What can I eat? Where am I going to eat? Have I been there before? And travel in small towns, you need to be in the same Dairy Queen over and over again. You'll look at that menu going like, I don't know if I could put a dilly dip bar on a hamburger, but I got an expense card and I'm curious, and like you just end up doing the most outrageous nonsense that all adds up to all these calories that you then just go right back to your Holiday Inn Express and take a nice 8-hour nap. I mean, the road is a real conundrum for anybody trying to stay healthy. That's one of the more challenging things that I ever faced in my formal business years.
I dove into it even harder. I didn't even try to come out of it in a healthier way. I leading up to where this shirt came from, found an interest in eating competitions. Just me, I like to turn the volume all the way up or turn it all the way down.
Yeah.
And so whenever this newfangled,
this is sponsored by who? What is this?
The ones I did was the Major League Eaters.
This looks like a NASCAR sponsored Happy
It's
Meal.
very, very NASCAR-esque. So what it was my interest first gets sparked by the Nathan's hot dogs. You're out there watching Kobayashi. I don't know if anybody remembers him. He was before Joey Chestnut. He was the big hero before Joey Chestnut came on. Because most people do know Joey.
Yeah. No, most people don't know Joey.
I got in the game.
Yeah, no, I'd never heard of what was his name? Was the
Joey
first
Chestnut?
Yeah, but
you've
prior
heard
to
of
that.
Nathan's hot dog eating
I know that.
The 4th of July,
dude. I've seen that. I quickly turned the channel. Like it's like why would I watch humans in this what looks like a painful way stretch their organs in some competitive fashion while they try not to throw up in front of a crowd? It's hard for me to stop.
That pretty well describes it. You're saying that didn't sound fun.
No, it didn't. I'm just wondering what.
Because that's what I signed up for.
But what drew you into that?
That's what I did. So I guess the interest. I'm not the only person. This thing's on ESPN. I'm not the only person.
I know you're not the only person, but you happen to be here in this chair in this room, and I'm curious what would drive a man to go, yeah, I want to go stuff enough grilled cheese in my face that I can prove I did it at a greater rate than anybody else. And I didn't what do they call it when you
reversal of fortune?
A reverse.
Yeah, if you
now that is kind of an
eloquent
food
name. Doesn't stay down, it comes up.
A reversal of fortune.
Reversal of fortune.
Okay.
Yeah, that's about the prettiest way you can make it.
You call it an exit ramp. There's a lot of things that could come out of that, but the pressure just builds up a little too high, and you have a reversal of fortune.
Yeah, your fortune went the wrong way. I guess because if it goes out the
other.
And
then you're immediately fired? Not fired, but like you're
disqualified.
Yeah, you're no longer in the tournament.
And what little bit I've done in the realm of competitive, I've never seen it happen.
Now, can I go cud? Can I go cow cud on this? You know how cow's stomach works?
Yeah. And I think you can. One of them I did after the grilled cheese, the okra.
Okay.
I believe that there was a little bit of that going on. But now that was my peak.
And we didn't illustrate.
So I've got two different eating competitions.
Okay, but just for a second though, a cow chewing its cud. You understand that process, right?
Right. It goes into his stomach. It comes back out, chews it up a little bit, goes back down again.
Yeah. It's a 2-time, like, goes down, comes back, chews again, and they have a process there. For some reason, that's their benefit. But you that also goes on in competitive eating? Like it goes down and comes back up and it goes back down again?
No.
Okay.
It doesn't get probably past the throat.
Okay.
But I have seen to where there's a little bit in the mouth, back out into the hands, back into the mouth. Because whenever you're doing this.
But when's it a disqualifier? How far can it get away from your throat before you're done?
I think that they are looking for the obvious, like, heavel.
Okay.
It's not just a little bit slipped out of my mouth.
Right.
Like when they talk
the full
reversal fortune,
projectile.
they mean you had 8 grilled cheese in you and 8 of them just came out.
Look like an SNL skit.
That's a reversal of fortune. Honestly, while you're in there doing it and you kind of like throw open your mouth a little bit, that's part of the process. Like that's what I mean by.
What if it crease up in your nose though?
Keep that stuff down.
That's next level. All right, so
it's not for fun. I'm telling you, it's an endurance activity. There's pain, there's struggle involved, and so. But the first one that I came across, so we were interested in it from the Nathan's Hot Dog, but locally, I didn't know anything had been going on. But we're big state fair people, and when we were looking down around the list of state fair, there was one that was going to be competitive eating.
You saw your chance.
I saw the chance. I was like, what the heck? Let me try this out.
Yeah.
So my first one I go into, never really prepping before, but knowing I need preparation. I already know enough that, average Joe off the street doesn't just walk up there, dip a grilled cheese in water, eat it, and
you had to do so you're doing workouts to build to this moment, right?
Yeah. So I knew I had to do some sort of training. So this was my first attempt at training, and it involved a whole lot of going to Olive Garden, all you can eat salad and breadsticks, and you will freak out a server walking in there and saying, "Hey, I'm here to eat as much as possible, as fast as possible."
You would declare it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, there's no other way.
Keep them coming.
Yeah, you're trying to get them to keep them coming because that's the thing. You want to get a whole lot of food in your stomach so that it stretches out.
And you're going to some place that's unlimited, a buffet style. You can slay as much as you want.
Well, and I'm hopefully going to where I get the salad.
Okay.
That's the real stretcher.
But that's ironic. Salad?
Yeah, you get your stomach full of roughage.
Okay.
Like your cabbage, your salad, whatever. It takes it longer to break that down, so it sits in there and stretches more.
Okay.
Whereas if you're filling it up with spaghetti sauce and melted cheese,
but you're eating, so you can eat healthy in order to go do a very unhealthy form of eating.
Yes, and if you're going to do it at the highest level, you almost have to be healthy. The best ones are the skinny ones. Whenever you're talking a 300, 400, 500 pound person, that is actually just a whole lot of extra weight that is smashing down on the stomach. Okay. Not allowing the expansion. All right. You really got to take away every part of your body from the equation.
Yeah.
And all you are is a chewer, a tunnel, and then a sack.
So we're trying to
want to get that sack, all the option to grow.
We're turning your gut into a garage is the goal, right? Slowly through eating piles of lettuce?
Almost anything I could get a whole lot of that wasn't going to bring a whole lot of calories.
All right. So how'd it play out?
Well, for that one, I gave it my best shot with it. But I'm having a hard time beating the circuit guys. Same thing on this. I came in fourth.
That was a grilled cheese
out of
event.
the money.
Right. No reversal of fortune.
No
Your
reversal
fortune
of
stayed
fortune.
in line.
I go in 12 grilled cheese in 10 minutes.
And you're soaking them?
Yeah. Well, you have to. Let me get to that because you don't. It isn't just about stomach space to win one of these competitions. You not only have to put a lot in, you got to put it in fast.
Okay.
And I first tried to time it out. I get some grilled cheeses made, and you're just like, I don't want wet, soggy bread. Nobody would.
No.
So I'm going to eat a grilled cheese just like I would, as quick as I can. With the mindset of, hey, I'm going to try to get 10 of these down or whatever.
You're going original.
Now, chase it with water. Like I'm taking a drink.
Okay.
I'm just not eating mushy bread.
Yeah.
And that sandwich, I don't remember exact figures, but it was like 90-something seconds. I remember things about a minute and a half. And so, and the reason I tell you it won't even matter is because then you go to the next one and you've got your little cup of water. I'm like, all right, I'm going to put half of it in there, soak it, put it down, put the other half in, soak it, put it down. And then whenever you do it that way, I ate that whole grilled cheese sandwich in like 15 seconds.
Oh, man.
I mean, that's why I don't remember the exact because it wasn't even close.
So the water,
you don't even need to time this thing.
The cup of water's acting like an accessory mouth for you. It's breaking it down. What the saliva would have to do, the water's doing for you.
Mm-hmm.
You're breaking the food
making
down
it soft,
before
makes
you
it slide.
All right.
Because one of the things that worried me at first was I didn't understand why the professionals would do it. Is that I just made this piece of bread this big by adding water to it. Like it expands.
Yeah.
And you figure in a place where you're doing space, you don't want expansion. So, but in this case, you're trying to find that happy medium between a little bit of extra space in your stomach versus the ability to slide that thing down your throat fast.
Oh, okay.
And so that extra water, even if it expands, it's worth it because when it gets in there, it smashes right back down.
Did you hire a coach or like you're scraping this out of YouTube?
Scraping this out of YouTube. Okay, just figure it out.
Complete it's out amateur. There. All right.
And that one went fine.
That was the grilled cheese event.
It was the grilled cheese. It was fun enough that whenever the
dude, what do you feel like afterwards?
Oh, you don't feel awesome. It's not good. It's like you're talking about.
You didn't have a reversal of fortune at some point in time.
Mm-mm.
Wow.
It goes against the spirit of every bit of it. Yeah,
it's got to come out the way it normally comes out.
Mm-hmm. You are here to digest the whole experience.
That's a lot of lactose too. Like if you're eating 12 grilled cheeses,
hey, believe me, there's not
you're
that much
showing
milk
off
in that cheese. It's the greasy
okay.
cheese. They're the cheapest grilled cheese.
The cheese food.
Yeah, believe me, I wasn't eating a whole lot.
Okay.
It wasn't a whole lot of dairy. It was a whole lot of oleo, or what was that oil they used to?
I thought you were out there just showing off your lactose tolerance.
No,
Not the case.
it would be kind of cool if you were. Now, the guy who was showing off some lactose intolerance. Now, so the second time I went, again, now I'm a little bit more into it. I understand
What are we eating
the
this
process. This time, what we got coming up is okra.
Okay.
Now, I didn't wear that jersey. It wasn't near as cool as the grilled cheese.
Why do you think they chose okra? That's such a unique product.
That's a good question. I've wondered myself. Like, I understand.
Is fried okra or the slimy piece?
No, it's fried.
Okay.
It's the fried one.
So it's like crunching on gravel then, right?
A little. It wasn't. I mean, it's not like it was fresh cooked and crispy.
You can't use ketchup?
It was a pretty soggy fried okra.
Okay.
I mean, we're putting down pounds and pounds of it, and so and the ones I'm up against here, like I said, these are they got professional circuit people. The
real
ones that you
known
see
people
up on that stage, if you ever watched the Nathan's hot dog thing, there are people who've made money in this sport.
So you've competed. You've been in the arena with those hard chewing fools.
Heck yeah,
right?
yeah. The one I went up against was Sonia, the Black Widow Thomas.
Sonia the Black Widow Thomas.
She was the number 2 eater in the world at the time.
Okay.
And the next one was Eric Bertoletti. And I don't remember his nickname, which pretty much all of them.
The
have.
number 2 eater in the world. Like is this disciplinary specific? Is she hot dog
No,
chugging?
they bounce disciplines.
All right. So once you stretch your stomach, you can throw a ball peen hammer down there. It don't matter.
Kind of, but then again, it has to do with your technique,
Okay.
and what you can handle. Like so, the other guys eating against, he was like the number 8 eater in the world, the Bertoletti guy, and he was the ice cream champion.
Okay.
Like he had eaten like a gallon and a half, or not a gallon. What is it? A quart.
A quart?
Like a quart and a half of ice cream in like 10 minutes.
Okay.
Like just the brain freezes alone, the
It would be
lactose tolerant, that's showing off your lactose tolerance. So there are some of the things that these guys will eat that, just having a big stomach.
Okay, but you got your
Some
sights.
people do jalapenos and hot stuff.
That seemed like a whole nother level of torture right
It
there.
is,
But you
man.
got your sights set on the Black Widow, was her name?
Yeah,
Okay.
Sonya the Black Widow.
Sonya
Thomas,
the Black
and then there's
Widow.
one other one, which really this is kind of more where I had my sights set. The number 14 eater in the world, Eric the Red. I don't remember his last name.
Eric the Red. Okay.
And
cat
then
or
here
what?
comes me, your local amateur. They even had a little blurb they put in our thing about there was local talent. Miles Karp was very impressive. And so I even had my little nickname. I was Miles the Disposal.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, and again,
You got to explain to the world now why your name is not Miles anymore.
Well, it is. I kind of explained on my Facebook page when I put it out, but you can't get rid of a name. I went by Trace until I was about 22. I got promoted at work, got tired of telling everybody why I'm Trace instead of Miles. Because on my birth certificate it says Miles. But I'm the third. The nickname comes into play.
It's tricky.
Yada,
It's
yada.
just tricky.
And
it
so
almost
once I
needs
went
its
to
own
that,
chapter.
From about 22 to about 40, most of my endeavors are Miles. But the problem is that I'm still hanging out, namely my wife, people who knew me as Trace. And so I couldn't make Trace go away.
Miles is your legal name.
Miles a legal name.
Right, okay.
Trace
All
was the
right,
name.
all
Like I said, without even any really choice of my own, that's what I went by as my name my whole youth into college.
I drug you down a dark alley there.
all right.
So let's go back to Sonya the
It'll never
Black
go
Widow.
away.
Sonya the Black Widow, and
And then here
as
comes
much
local
okra.
talent, the Disposal Carp coming in.
Did you have a nickname?
The Disposal.
The
That's what I'm telling you.
Disposal.
Yeah.
It
yeah.
seems a little cheap for this.
It's
though. You could have been more
cheesy.
creative than
I
that.
know.
Did you come up with this?
I did.
People say you can't pick your own
You
nicknames.
can't.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, I guess I didn't. 'Cause what I got it from was my in-laws.
Okay.
Because anytime there were leftovers,
Disposal.
they knew I was eating all. Like before I came along, they used to throw leftovers away, and then now I come, their fridge is clean. Like
Wow.
there's nothing in there growing on it. Like I'm the disposal.
You're a son-in-law and a compost heap all in one.
I am because I can't stand throwing food away. So I was going to figure out how I could possibly just eat a whole lot more of it,
All right, so you're gonna-
no
what's-
food would ever get thrown away.
All right, so take take me to the day of the event. You got interaction with these people?
Oh, briefly, like
because you're an outsider. They don't know who you are.
I'm a little starstruck. Like I've seen Sonya. I know this is.
Did you ask for her autograph?
No, I didn't go.
Well, that's good. At least you maintain your integrity in that regard.
No, she. But for a 100-pound person that I've watched eat 40, 50 hot dogs. Now again, this is back when Joey Chestnut's putting down like 60. So 110-pound Sonya Thomas is 35, 45, while extremely impressive in any sort of human endeavor. There just has to be one that's a little bit bigger. So you don't hear about her quite as much, even if you are paying attention to the world. But she came up to me and asked me, I don't know if she was checking out my competition or just trying to start a conversation, but she's asking me how much I'd eat. And at that point, I hadn't gotten anybody to get me more than 3 pounds of okra in one sitting. So I told her, I was like, 3 pounds. And she's like, oh, that's not very good. You need to eat more.
She's Italian?
No, she's Asian. But whatever, I can't get an accent right.
So she's crawling in your noggin a little bit.
A little.
She asked for the preview, and you, being the amateur that you were,
volunteered
more than you needed to, and now she's up in your head.
Yeah.
What'd you say to her?
Fine.
What was your rebuttal to that?
Thanks. I'm trying. Maybe I'll do better today.
Okay.
It's kind of all you can say.
Yeah, what do you say?
But you're not. Like, honestly, I knew going into this competition, I wasn't going to beat her. After the amount of preparations I had done, which compared to them is still limited. And I'm talking, maybe 5-6 weeks of pretty much just any meal you have, eating until you're full, and then eating some more roughage on top of that. And then I would pound down water to top it off just to make sure I had everything in there I could.
Wow. And
then you just sit in pain and wait for your body to stretch out and then get rid of it. And then you just get to do it all over again in 4 hours.
Man, that sounds like a heck of a ride.
It is.
So how'd it go down with her?
So I gave it everything I could, knowing I wasn't going to have as much as him. I'm up there eating my okra, and I'm not really counting as I go. I'm giving it all I can. Giving it all I can.
Okra.
And I'm watching the guy next to me, and this is the number 14.
All right.
And I feel like I'm there. Maybe even passing him.
This is Eric the Red?
Eric the Red, the number 14 in the world. This is where I will tell you, I was arguably the number 14 eater in the world at one time.
That day?
Yes.
Okay.
Because as I'm eating against the guy, feeling like I'm up top, and now I've got my little fan. I'm the local favorite, so I've got a little fan base right up on the front. Some people actually cared enough to
care. Your mom and your wife.
Yeah, my wife, my unborn child.
All those that weren't ashamed of what you were doing in public. Just what every mother wants to see. I'd love to see my son grow up and try to eat so much food that it doesn't come back in a recorded fashion with a NASCAR shirt on. That's you just give every mom something to strive for there.
Again, I've learned a lot since then, but at that time, man, it was something I was interested in. Seemed like it was going to be fun, and I don't say I completely regret it.
All right, I sidelined you. What happened with Eric the Red?
Man, I'm going up against him, and we get to the end. Family kind of feels like maybe I beat him. Final totals come out. They got me at 4.5 pounds of okra. They got Eric the Red at 5 pounds of okra.
Oh, okay. Half-pound difference.
Half-pound. They said, and they were giving us in little half-pound balls.
Which they weighed that before they gave it to you.
I guess, yeah. I'm sure it's real NASA.
So you're claiming hijinks here? You're saying there's some shenanigans at play?
I'm saying that you could argue that I had eaten more than
a half pound doesn't sound very close. A half pound doesn't sound close.
Take it as a percentage.
Where's the magic half pound go?
Take it as a percentage. This is 5 pounds. Okay. So half of 5, that's 5%.
I can't do that math, but okay, 5%. It sounds like this would be mathematical. Like they gave you how many pounds?
Is that right?
They disappeared. Why would there be a point of debate as to who had more consumed?
Well, partly just because you've got local people in the crowd that just kind of want to create a controversy.
Yeah,
they just want to see me. If there's zero truth whatsoever, then that might be a reason.
All right.
Then the only other reason would be
in your heart of hearts,
conspiracy theory would be that he's already on their payroll. This is a lot easier for him to win this competition, and then them just keep working the same circuit people.
Okay.
Because I found out,
that's the accusation you're making. You're making though.
I find out later on, had I win, then I've got to sign in a contract with the Major League Eaters of America, or at the time, whatever, Independent Federation of Competitive
called
Eaters.
up to the majors, huh?
Yeah. That's essentially what's going on. And then you kind
don't
of
need an
punch your
agent
ticket.
for that?
Well, that's what I wasn't sure.
Hey, your mom was there. She fucking handled that role.
Yeah, both elements of my fan club and management were both there. So there was no telling where it's going to go, but I can tell you where I ended up with it. I end up with a couple of Goofy A jerseys, a story to tell, and one gigantic stomach that I just start living life with in my late 20s. And that sounds like maybe it's fun. Maybe you wouldn't notice.
So it doesn't just go back to where it came from.
Oh, you spent 6 weeks stretching it out.
Wow.
Unless you spend 6 weeks smashing it back down, or you've got a stomach there.
So you've built.
And I could tell a difference in when I would finish a meal and have a dessert, and there's still room. And that meal was good. And that dessert was good. I'm going to have a little bit more. Like you don't have that I'm stuffed, I have to stop feeling. Because so often, up until this point in my life, that was how I figured out I was done eating. I don't know if anybody else does this. I highly recommend stopping it. But you are full way before you are stuffed and in pain.
It's hard to stop your mouth.
For a big chunk of my early life, the food was good. I'm going to eat it until it hurts, and then I'll stop.
Yeah.
And I hadn't had any problems with it. Again, until you get late 20s, slow down your metabolism.
Slow down your activity.
jump into an eating competition that expands your gut. And then next thing you know, you're in a downhill spiral towards obesity unless you curb that in some way, shape, or form.
Well, I'm glad you had the eating competition to blame the later bouts with obesity. It wasn't my fault. It was the choice I made to stretch my organs in a competitive fashion that led me to later overeating and swelling up to what weight?
An undesirable state.
Yeah.
Honestly,
not
at that time,
shape.
I don't think I ever weighed at my heaviest. I probably never stepped on. I would probably never stepped on a scale within 15 pounds of my heaviest. So to this day, I can always just say, it's probably about.
You got a little standard deviation in there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we all do.
But it doesn't matter. Like, I honestly, weight's just a number.
Yeah.
Just like age is
a composition
just a number.
Question.
Like, somebody could be 6'1", 200 pounds and be healthy as can be. You could be 6'1", 200 pounds and be a slough and whatever.
Yeah.
loaf of sores.
How did you put it together? A bag of burgers at a time, a couple grilled cheeses. I mean.
How do you think I did?
Well, it was worth it just to have that jersey, which I was thinking, man, if that had complimentary, like if it had matching underwear, if you had grilled cheese underwear that like you could get crusty and cheesy out of your underwear, boy, what a beautiful setup
just
that
rocking
would be.
this thing with like some wrestling tights that match it.
It just seems, I'm not talking edible underwear, like nothing that far gone. Just something to complement that nice golden glow that's coming off that jersey.
This is melted cheesy underwear.
It's a sweet piece of gear, man. I'm glad you showed up today.
Yeah, much like
wearing
most of my
piece.
Experiences in my 20s. I'm glad it happened. I'm glad I'm not still.
You didn't even just get the T-shirt. You got like a jersey. You could put a small set of shoulder pads under that and play a game.
You throw a helmet on.
That's real material.
I'm ready to go
right
tackle
there.
somebody.
Yeah,
or at least run into them real hard. I make them wonder somebody get the number of that grilled cheese that just hit me.
Well, we know what website to check. We got that part right. In fact, you may brand them a little bit. You got enough Golden Palace on there. That's classic.
Well, but okay. So to answer your question, the only way I know to fix an extreme that got turned all the way up, turn it all the way off. So that was when I found fasting. I dove into a world of eating nothing.
Wow, you're checking the polls. You
That's
went
all.
to one poll, might as well check another one.
I don't know how else to say. That's just the way I
experience.
run in life, man.
Yeah, it's an experience.
It's a little bit, you could see it even in just like when you get in my car. Hey, if it's a hot day, I'm going to get in my car and turn the AC all the way up to high until I can't stand it anymore.
Yeah.
And then turn it down and start regulating.
Yeah.
But first, I got in here at this extreme. We going to touch this extreme before we find the middle. And that's exactly where I went when it came to eating. After going into competitive eating as much as one can, biggest possible stomach capacity to put as much food in as possible, well, then it's time to just turn it off. Let's see how long we can not eat. And I'd be surprised, man. You can go longer than you think.
And so you went from bulking.
I don't even know if I call it bulking, just stuffing. I was just stuffing food into me.
The most gluttonous condition, Gluton Sports. You were in the Gluton Sports.
Glutton Sport, yes.
To now not starving.
Glutton Sport.
Yeah, well,
I love that.
there's going to be blood. The question is how much toilet paper is needed.
Which orifice is it coming out?
So, but I'm just trying to understand this. So now to correct this, you're going to the other end of the spectrum, and we're going no food for some time.
That's right.
Okay.
And I found a fasting diet that I've done it multiple times since. It's been a minute now, but I believe in the effects of this. And that is, it's called the Master Cleanse. Around the time it came out, I think Beyonce had even kind of made a big deal about it. The lemonade
anything with a cleanse makes it feel like I'm going to be something new and special on the other side. Mm-hmm. I was dirty, now I'm cleansed.
And I would usually do it too. It almost would correspond like right now, like that first couple weeks of January. It's time to get all the toxins from last year. Because hell, the holidays are they're like the weekend of the year. And then, January's your Monday. Like, you got to come pay the piper.
Yeah.
And for me, a lot of times paying that piper come January would be, all right, I'm not eating for 5, 7, 10,
you're cleansing it.
14 days. Let me clean this stuff out.
You're on the colonoscopy diet.
Yeah, and I'm a believer in it. I truly am. I do not have any concern that my digestive tract will ever reach some of the problems you hear. The the inability to digest, the bloating, the cancers, the getting chunks taken out, colonic excitement. You're
saying that's not going to happen because you fast?
I think so.
Okay.
I believe that whenever you give your body the opportunity to clear that portion out, that digestive portion, and the opportunity to clean out, I mean by not putting any more in, then it starts reorganizing itselh.
Okay.
Just kind of like
goes back to its natural state.
I got this a little bit from our Cat Network stuff. Like, you want that, if you ever want to get a warehouse clean and organized, you got to stop receiving.
Okay. Yeah.
You
makes
got to
sense.
stop bringing in inventory. And then with the inventory you got, you can say, oh, yeah, this goes on that shelf. Why do we even still have this? Let's get this out of here. It brings that dynamic to, I hope, what's happening inside my belly and my whole digestive tract. And it feels that way.
Now, you're not fasting competitively. This was just something you were doing as an individual, right?
That's right.
Okay. So how like, are we talking 40, 50-day fast? What are you doing there?
Now, the instructions on this one, I'd say that you can go up to 40
with
in a healthy manner.
All right.
I don't know why you would ever need to. Honestly, I mean, you'd have to have some
what is it
dark toxins tucked in dark holes in you.
But some people fast for mental clarity. Some people fast for religious purpose.
Yes.
40 days seems like, man, you're really pushing some limits there.
And I didn't get to that. Let me make that
I don't know. Why
perfectly
would you
clear.
want to get to that?
The closest I ever got was about 2 weeks.
Okay.
That's
still some work.
It is. And I'll tell you a little bit of, the way it feels as you go through it.
Okay.
So the point of it is to give yourself the minimal amount of nutrition possible to maintain life.
Right. Okay.
And so you have to have water. And then you have to have a little bit of sugar or something with it. So in this particular, you get a little bit of maple syrup. So grade B maple syrup. I'm not talking
this
the stuff you pour over your pancakes.
Right, but we're not zero calorie.
No,
it's not zero calorie.
No, you can't, because, as I kind of said at the beginning, I eat, therefore I am. You must have a relationship with food, or you won't have a life. So your whole life, or at least for me, what I'm talking about here on the show, is this lifelong journey with getting okay with that relationship. A relationship I have to have, but one that can go the wrong way real quick if you're not doing the right thing. And in that journey along the way, this is the way that you give your body time to sort out without putting any more in.
What was the
maintaining life.
All right, what was the cocktail
Then the
again?
last thing would be the lemon juice. I don't know if I said that, but you have fresh
well, run it
squeeze,
back,
because
run
you
it
need
back.
the vitamin C. So you're just doing a lot of water. And then you mix in about 8 times a day. You're mixing in a little bit of maple syrup. It's grade B, so it still has all the minerals in it. It's not just sugar water you're pouring on pancakes. It's a higher mineral grade of syrup.
All right.
And then lemon juice for the vitamin C and some of the other nutrients.
So you got this from like Dr. Pinterest?
Where'd
you come up with this?
Dr. Stanley Burroughs is the guy who created it. And he's been around for a while. I think he came out like in the late 60s, 70s.
All right.
Like, this is some old hippie, Mother Nature kind of stuff that he was kind of,
He's a doctor of paleontology, or what's he doing?
I don't even know if he's a doctor. Did I say doctor?
You said doctor like it meant something. We all know doctors kind of been marginalized over the years.
Oh, yeah, I could care less if
you could be a book doctor, you can be a human doctor, but they throw around the title kind of in the same form. So anyway, so you make it 10 days.
He's the guy that came up with it. Yeah. Well, I've done it about 8-10 times, and I don't remember what I started with. I know I didn't start with a long one at first, because the first time you go into it, man, it's scary. You're not sure if you go to bed, if you're going to wake up. You start noticing different changes in your body.
Okay.
Like I almost got like night vision, it would seem.
You were worried about your mortality.
Sense of smell will kick in.
Yeah.
Like your survival things inside your body will start to kick in whenever you're depriving it of the nutrients.
Which makes you crave it more, you believe?
Well, okay, so at first, your first few days, you go through that a little bit. Like your stomach is still kind of like saying, hey, 12 hours ago I got this and it did this for me. I want it again.
Yeah.
Keep it coming.
Yeah.
And it can do that with anything. It'll do that with sugar. It'll do that with vegetables. Whatever you're giving it, it'll say, okay, that worked. Give me some more.
Right.
But you give it no more. You've got to almost like train it to, hey, you gave me nothing yesterday and I'm fine. Give me some more nothing. And after a few days, it kind of gets to that point.
Okay. So
like, I'm not kidding. By day 3,
in.
you start to wonder, like you stop losing your cravings. Because a whole lot of what we call hunger isn't hunger. It's just a craving. There's not any actual my body is.
Yeah, and it's
saying,
real. When you're driving down the average artery in anywhere USA and you're having to fight the hamburger signal out of your mind, it's really difficult at this point in time to understand exactly when we are hungry, when we are bored, when we're just reacting to the suggestions behind food marketing, which we're inundated by food marketing. We're reminded to eat all the time. Think about just going down the street and the glowing signs that are reminding you that you're only one short right-hand turn away from a very nice burger,
that mouth
piece
pleasure,
of chicken,
that little endorphin hit.
They're just planting those things in your head as you go. So to really decipher your own hunger, what I try to do, I heard this from some documentary that had some setup where a lady was religiously altering some beliefs and dieting and fasting came into it. Mm-hmm. And one of those like hazy 80s TBN setups, right? Where the hair's teased up big and she's telling you how God would like you to eat. But the whole principle behind this diet was you only eat when your body tells you need to eat. So if you're not receiving the hunger signal, then you don't need to eat. You're reacting to something from your brain, which I thought was a very interesting take because I had never tried to compartmentalize my hunger in that regard. So if my brain is telling me I'm hungry, I'm probably reacting to stimulus. If my stomach's telling me hungry, then it's time to eat. And so her entire principle was, unless your stomach's telling you you're hungry, you don't truly need to eat. You're reacting to your mind's belief that you need food at this point in time.
And I think another lesson learned from that is to listen to your body, and whenever it's not hungry anymore, stop eating.
Yeah.
Like it will tell you when your hunger is there, and then it can also tell you when you're had enough. And that's where we don't listen, I think, to our stomachs. We don't listen to the I've had enough. We listen to it when we say, oh, that's way too damn much.
You feel it then, yeah.
Like
yeah.
I'll tell you,
you got to give it time to fill out, though. You had
one
a good point
example
there.
I've heard is a lot of us when we're eating, and then you'll have that belch, into your meal.
Yeah.
And so
a
many
mild
of us,
reversal of fortune.
So many of us will say, oh, now I got some more room. Dive in and start eating.
Yeah.
I've been told that is actually a calculated response by your body. Once your stomach gets to about 75% full, it sends a signal that says, all right, stop now. I can digest this, and then I'll let you know when I need some more coming in.
Okay. So
but
listen
we don't
to the belches.
listen to the body. We're listening to our head and our taste buds saying, this is delicious. I got more. Put it in there.
Wow.
This is delicious. I got more room. Put it in there. But you don't get to a point of necessarily recognizing that unless you can dive into what's really happening within your body in these moments. And through a fast, you can dive into that.
Okay.
You can start discerning, am I just eating because this is the social norm and everybody says it's lunchtime, I must go eat food? Or am I eating because, as you said, my stomach right now is empty and my body wants energy and nutrients? Let me get some for them. There's very different reasons for eating, and I wonder, how much of us just go around with the mind controlling it and social conditioning, outside norms that say, nope, time for another meal. Because right now, social conditioning would tell you 3 meals a day. And if you're anything like me in my mid-20s, that's 3 stuffings a day.
Yeah.
I will
have
eat
you ever
delicious
heard,
food, and I will eat too much of it 3 times a day. And if you keep doing that, you're going to have every bit of the health problems most Americans
Well,
do.
the programming is hard though. Like if you've listened to somebody tell you need 3 squares a day for your entire life, and then you take one away. I'm not a big breakfast person forever. Like intermittent fasting, I accidentally was doing that for years, and I didn't know it. I just didn't like breakfast. And my mom always thought that I was going to get sick or it was going to cause me an illness. And she would worry about me. And, you know, I know from the experience of intermittent fasting that I usually have a little bit more mental clarity. It's easier to move when you don't have a belly full of food. And so I'm listening to this going like, the programming on you need 3 squares a day is so hard. It's so baked into us that any sign of fasting, people start worrying about your health.
Yeah.
Like we're so accustomed to so many calories on a given day. The idea that we would take them away, now you're going to be unhealthy. It's really some modern day madness that,
and you
that
get
we're talking
accused
about.
of it too, real quick.
You will. Yeah, if you
my-
parade out the fact that you're fasting, somebody will raise their hand and go, I don't know about this. I saw something on the early morning news about the dangers of fasting. And like, fasting's been around since mankind hit the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, listen, you're going to go get a hamburger before you die of fasting. It's nutty to believe that fasting is going to take me someplace other than away from the food marketers that want to jam me full of calories, regardless of the
3
output.
times a day.
Yeah, get them in there. You remember the food groups? Like just all
the food
the
group
way
stuff's
they
funny.
tried to explain food to us. You know, you have to get a little older, and you have to also experiment with food. And you know the food begins and then it ends, and you have a feeling after you've eaten. And if you tune in to what makes you feel good, it also makes you make better choices on the front side of consumption.
And tune in long term what makes you feel good.
Yeah.
That's where I know we get short-sighted as can be when it comes to food. I spent a whole lot of my food choice life early on just looking about 30 minutes in front of me.
Yeah.
And not even that far. Not even that worried about how much pain I was going to be in when I got done. Because you just did it so many times. Like, that's the spot you're supposed to get
Mexican
to. It was just
food.
a take it for
like some
granted.
Mexican food's a great one, right?
Mexican food and
Love
Italian.
it. Love Mexican food. But you cannot – it's very difficult. Very difficult for me to maintain moderate composure in a Mexican food restaurant.
I know.
I'm banging down an entire bag of chips, and then I'm eating as many of those soft, nice tortillas they'll give me.
Mm-hmm.
And I might have a sopapilla if I'm feeling froggy at the end. But that equates to the walk to the car. I'm mildly comatose. Like, I'm not doing anything active. All I can do at that point in time is think about getting in front of a TV, going to bed. It's great lay down food. That Mexican food meal it will inspire a nap like no others. And I still love Mexican food, and I still eat Mexican food. But
the fact that I eat too much of it isn't Mexican food's
does-
fault.
yeah, it doesn't
way to go
stop.
for being good food.
Yeah, I'm not going to blame Mexican
myself.
food. I try to limit it, though, because I know if you can get that thought of how you feel afterwards, if you can get that implanted before you consume, it's pretty powerful. It's a hard trick to do. I'm sometimes successful with that with Mexican food. Not with pizza, not with Italian food, nowhere else. But I know Mexican food causes me a real high level of agony after I eat it. And I also know it's very difficult for me to take in moderation when you put that yummy chips and salsa right in front of me. Oh, that needs to disappear.
Taste wins the day.
Absolutely.
I don't know. And it's if there's any way in life you can just let go of the reins of flavor a little bit when you're making your food selection.
Quit letting your tongue drive the bus is tricky.
However, you've got to get to a point where you are in the awareness of what food's doing to you. There's some benefit from the fasting on that side of it. But, okay, so.
You liked it because it allowed you to slow things down a little bit.
Well, I liked it just because it was the other end of an extreme.
Okay.
And now I'll tell you something else I found a way to really enjoy it too, was I found a way to make it competitive. Because if there's anything I love just as much as extremes, it's a competitive nature.
It's pummeling another human.
So here I am. We're probably in around a January time.
Okay.
We're at the cat spot. You know, we're
right.
in a little office setting. You got a whole bunch of people. that all interact with each other, see each
Beginning
other
of
on a
the year?
day-to-day basis. Great friends, people I enjoy being around.
Sure, they're all glad to hear that.
And they started this little office pool.
All right.
It's, throw in some money. Everybody's got a little skin in the
I
game.
love an office pool.
Yeah, let's see.
Spices it up a little bit.
And they're looking for people to get in, probably throwing caution to the wind as to who they're inviting in. It's just, let's just get as many people as possible.
Any sucker's got $5. You got money on it, right?
Oh, yeah. Man, it was a good chunk. More than 5. I believe that. And I look at it, I'm like, you know what? What we got? We got a month. I was like, I was kind of thinking about fasting for a little bit anyway. Sign me up. Let's see what happens.
So you got this trick in your back pocket.
I know I got a trick in my back pocket to where
okay.
I can lose. I can lose about 20 to 30
And you've read the fine
pounds
print
in a month.
The whole fasting's not illegal.
No, nothing's illegal. It's just
it's all above board.
Yeah, and there was even some weighing that I did a little different too to win this thing. But so just starting off like, all right, whatever, sign me up. I can't wait to see what I can pull off on this deal.
How much you can pull out.
And so for the start, like for the first couple of weeks, like I'm not doing anything. Like I know, this is going to be a sprint at the end. For
yeah.
And the people who are in the competition,
You're flossing
they're
your
all
knowledge.
kind of keep an eye on each other.
Yeah.
And I've got no change. And there's one dude who came in pretty big.
You're weighing weekly, or people just looking at the inflection?
Just looking.
Right.
As far as I know,
up.
the only weigh-in that went on was the very beginning and the very end.
All right.
Now,
all right.
the office people in the back might have been weighing themselves.
But in general, they're just
without the warehouse guy around. But the warehouse guy they let in, it was just everyone. Hey, you ain't doing anything. Dude.
Yeah, they're gauging your density.
Then they gave up on it real quick. Especially when there was this one guy. He was a lot heavier starting out, and he had a visual. Like you could see him changing. He's somebody who
he was talking to the man in the mirror.
Right. He'd done the right things and was making long-term gains for himself.
Yeah.
And then here it comes, last couple of weeks of it. I'm like, all right, I guess it's time for me to jump in, start my fast. And again, me in details. I don't remember exactly where I start at and where I end. But I know around that time I could lose 1 to 2 pounds a day pretty easy. For up to about
1 pound a day.
Yeah,
1 pound a day fasting. That's your experience.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can lose about 30 pounds.
How fast does it come back on when you flip the switch back on?
That's all up to you and your eating level and activity level.
So really not a bad way to lose weight.
It's a good way to jump off.
A pound a day.
Yeah.
That's serious.
You can't. Now, it's not sustainable. Like, if you want sustainable weight loss, you have to have sustainable choice changes.
Do anything sustainable.
But just for a couple weeks to get a jump start, I highly recommend
drop the
this fast. And so that's what I did. So within that last 2 weeks, I lost 20-something pounds, which was a big chunk.
Well, you come around the mountain on them, did you?
I emaciate myself. I even go in. Normally, I wouldn't do the wrestling stuff, but man, for weigh-in day, like I'm not drinking water. I'm not wearing underwear. I've got on a silk shirt. I'm not wearing socks.
All right, let's get real.
I came in full on. I'm here to win this thing.
And you did.
And I did. The poor guy that worked his butt off and did the right thing for 30 days comes in second and then just watches this 2 week, let me see what I can do.
Did
Come
you
in
share
and just
that?
swoop up all the money.
Did you share that nugget with him? Did you say, hey, listen, I got this little trick?
Yeah, I told him after it was done.
A pound a day.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but you guys lost before. You lost when you invited me in this competition.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you that until now that it's over, but
you came
I'm sorry. You messed with the wrong, hey, let's do a little weight loss pool kind
You're
of
like, I got top shelf maple syrup tricks.
And
you didn't even know it was coming.
Yeah, they had no idea. And anybody else, like this is that time of year that's going down. There's office pools, office weight loss competitions.
There you go.
And if you want, look up Master Cleanse or the Lemonade Diet.
Okay.
And if you got what it takes to not eat, your body will thank you for it.
Yeah.
I have wholeheartely felt it's very beneficial, not just stealing people's money in office pools, but I do generally feel like it has added to my overall health. To participate in not stuffing myself 3 times a day.
You study at the foot of Master Cleanse.
Mm-hmm. Well,
that's
honestly,
nice.
I study at the foot of extreme everything.
Yeah,
but I do think that if you've been extreme stuffing yourself and you want to make an extreme change in your life, go all the way to extreme fasting.
Get the maple syrup out and get to it.
Get to it.
Yeah.
And you'll find out a lot more about yourself and your relationship with food and quantity and quality. It will open your eyes to how much control you can have over your food intake.
Yeah, so you learn a little bit about yourself when you dabble with fasting. You learn a little bit about exactly how much food's really got that reign on you.
You learn a little bit about yourself whenever you jump into eating competitions too.
Yeah,
you find out just how much that food can hurt.
I bet full body bloats, just full body bloating. Mm-hmm. Nice.
Over and over again for weeks.
We've given you a way to get bloated. We've given you a way to get unbloated. We've given you a way to not exactly cheat at an office pool, but maybe just to dominate.
You got to bend the rules.
Wreck them other suckers, man.
Yeah.
Those dudes are out there like doing push-ups and crunches, and you're like, nah, I'm ripping a cord on the food.
We're here to lose weight.
This is about to get real.
I'll show you.
And I'm going to do it in the last length of the race. You're going to see me come
Yeah,
off.
we'll give you hope for 3 weeks, thinking what you're doing is going to work.
Just because I'm a graceful human.
Nope, you had no idea how extreme I could get.
Enough of that. Enough of that. All right, we covered it all.
Man, thanks
Anything
for
else?
coming in. This is our first time. We got seen on camera. Let's hope we can figure out how to tie this together and do it again next
Let's
week.
hope it gets seen. Let's hope it gets seen.
Yeah, forget about that.
Yeah, because again, you go back to what we've been doing in this room with these cameras. This is number 5. And we said the other day, this is literally we've been rowing a canoe with a tennis racket.
Yep.
So maybe you see this, or maybe you don't. We would like to thank you for listening to the Feral Minds podcast. Hopefully we triggered some curiosity that will have you seeking more. Remember, your mind is meant to run. Slap some sneakers on that bad boy and take it around the block. If you'd like to connect with us or enlist our feral thoughts on a problem in your life, visit us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or at theferalminds.com. Also remember, our thought line is always available. 24/7, we don't even allow it to sleep. And we want to hear from you. That number is 866-340-3394. Again, that number is 866-340-3394. We look forward to hearing from you.